They heard all my complaints. They're at.
About.
I mean, there's a lot of them. Like, so let's. But the email client, they're like, well, maybe.
I don't understand this at all.
This is quintessential Microsoft at its
Yes.
core.
They announce something that's not going to happen for a year and a half, and then they're like, "Yeah, maybe we need more time."
If only maybe they need more money to be able to fund this.
Mm-hmm.
This is right up there with building a data center. I don't know.
Very strange.
It is very strange. The other thing I know that Microsoft's getting all my complaints about, but they refuse to address, is the monitors on this PC 1 and 2 were switched again, so I can't actually see like the flippity flops of the cameras. I just get to see all Paul all the time.
I'm so sorry.
Hope that this thing works.
Yep.
But you know what? It is what it is.
Yeah. This is what we got to work with. It's not good.
Could be worse, right? We could be using Amigas. I don't know.
I wish we were using Amigas. That would be nice.
Actually, they were probably happier back then because there was no social media. There was no TikTok. There was just mechanical keyboards and a green-ish screen.
Floppy disks.
Mm-hmm. That you could store safely. As long as there weren't magnets or weather or UV light or heat.
Well, we've made some advances since then, but still.
Have we? I mean, I guess the advancements are we now have ads and start menus. Or content you can't remove from start menus, I should say.
This is actually one thing I need to test with this new Outlook client, which is sign into an account that you're not paying for Microsoft 365 and just watch the ads explode all over the place, apparently. Now, it's possible people are exaggerating somewhat, but of course there are ads. Of course there are.
Of course. It's not going to pay for itself, Paul Thread. What do you think Microsoft is? Not for $1 trillion company?
It's barely going to release itself. I don't know what they're doing.
This is, I don't understand why this is such a big deal or why.
It's confusing.
I mean, how long have we been hearing about the new Outlook, the One Outlook for Microsoft? I mean, it's been literally years, like multiple years.
Yep. Yeah, there was I distinctly remember the moment in time because the idea here was they were kind of re-architecting it or whatever. And I was thinking, this is overdue. Maybe this is something that will impact the mobile client. There'll be like actually one client, And then, like a year goes by, a year and a half, and then they're like, oh, no, it's just a web app. And you're like, guys, geez Louise, why are we even talking about this?
Mm-hmm.
Just release it for crying out loud.
And here we are.
Yeah.
Here we are. Spotify is it's supposed to be releasing another hi-fi audio Supreme. Did they release? Somebody wrote Supremium.
Supremium, yeah.
Bloomberg. That's
like Duolingo language.
I will give them half credit for that word.
For Supremium?
Yes. They get half credit for that because that's a great. That is.
Now that they're done implementing the TikTok UI that nobody wanted, they're going to go back and actually add the hi-fi thing they promised a year and a half ago that everybody does want.
Well, the reason why I'm giving them half credit is that they didn't call it Spotify Plus or Spotify 365. They called it Supremium. Sure. Or they might be, according to Bloomberg. They've got it in quotes.
I hope they do. It's a great name.
Yeah. I'm not sure if it's worth it. I don't know. Okay.
I think they just spent a year trying to figure out what to do because Apple's giving away the hi-fi stuff for free essentially, and we have to charge $5 per month. And so what are the other things we can toss into this salad to make it make sense to people?
Yeah.
And I think that's what this is.
Well, they've been trying to do this podcast and audiobook thing, which I would love to just remove permanently from everything, but you can't because that's the way the world works.
Same thing in YouTube music. Yep. Hate it.
I want the music, not the... if I've listened to a podcast on Spotify, it's only by accident because I click something accidentally. And I'm almost positive I've never touched an audiobook because that's not where I keep audio. Actually, I don't even do audiobooks. I read the dead trees, Paul. I pull out the scrolls from the caves. That is how I enjoy to read things.
I mean, I listen to audiobooks and podcasts every day. I should say and or, one or the other. But I only listened to a podcast one time on Spotify, and it was because I couldn't find it in my podcast app. So I just said, I'll just look here, and it was there. So it was just a single episode, and I hated myself for it. But, I just got through it. And I kind of muscled through that. But I don't, I didn't want to give them that, that play, right? That they're like, see, this strategy's working. This guy that's never played a podcast
Right.
just tried one.
I can tell you the last time I listened to an audiobook. I know the exact moment because it was painful.
That's okay.
Very painful.
What
I
was
was
it?
helping a friend and his wife move from Virginia back to Cincinnati. And for whatever reason, me and a couple buddies, this is like 15 years ago at this point, me and a couple buddies loaded into a car. We drove out there. They had a U-Haul and a whole bunch of stuff. And we loaded up, like they had it all packed, and we loaded up the U-Haul. And for whatever reason, he was driving and his wife was taking their other car. And my other buddies were getting in the car. And I was like, I don't want him to ride 5-6 hours by himself. So I sat in the front of a U-Haul with a TV under my legs. And he's like, let's listen to an audiobook. And I was like, okay. And I contemplated jumping out of that U-Haul many times.
This reminds me of the Stephen Wright joke that he drove cross country. This was in the 80s, so we had cassette players back then. But he said we only had one cassette, and it was stuck in the player, so it was all we could listen to. And I can't remember what it was, which is a great joke. What was the audiobook?
I could not even tell you.
It's
Could
amazing.
not. It wasn't like a business book. It was some. It could have been like Game of Thrones. I have no idea what it was. It was not a. Like, I don't read fiction. Like, that's just, that's not me. I read nonfiction, like documentaries are like my favorite types of things to watch on the TV.
Yep.
Actually, you know what my favorite thing to watch on YouTube right now, Paul? This is a weird tangent, whatever. This guy, I think it's like Hoek. This guy's, I think, from Sweden or whatever. All he does is he goes hiking through like these awesome places like Patagonia and all these places. Never mutters a word, but it's just him like hiking through all this stuff. And
so
it's
almost like an ASMR thing.
It's beautiful cinematography.
His first name isn't Tajird, is it? Because that would be the guy who worked with Hillel Cooperman on the Longhorn stuff.
Let me see if I can find this guy's name. Harmon Hoek, I think is his name.
Harmon Hoek.
Yeah, because I Googled it, and the first video that comes up is silent hiking for 7 days in South Africa. Like, it's
Wow.
So, I mean, you know how I like national parks? Like, it's like
Sure.
It's like
I like that
perfect.
this person has the guts to understand that we don't care what he is doing. We just want to see the place.
Yeah, well, he does it really well. And
Yeah.
you can only imagine the hell that it is recording all this stuff because you'll see him like walk like
Yeah.
way out into the distance. And then he's got to turn around and walk right back to get that camera.
It's like the jackholes you see in cities who like set up a tripod and they walk to it so they can film themselves walking down the street, except big distances.
Yeah, so like if it's a 7-mile hike, it's actually a 14-mile hike if like for him, which is
well, that's good for
but
him.
he does a great job. And these things are whatever. That's your moment of zen for the week or something. I don't know. Just waiting for Thursday for that court case to start blowing up. FTC.
I know.
I was going to say FTC USA, but it's FTC Microsoft.
Just gonna stand outside the courtroom and chant FTC like it's USA. FTC, FTC.
Yeah. You know what else is really weird since we're not talking about anything that's relevant?
Mm-hmm.
In Cincinnati right now, within the last 12 months, Bengals finished AFC North champions, top of the AFC North.
Mm-hmm.
The MLS team, FC Cincinnati, who's a new team to the league, a couple years. I mean, it's been a few years now. Number one in the MLS.
Well,
And the Reds are on a 10-game win streak, are now top of the NL Central. This is how I know Armageddon is like right around the corner. The comet is coming, Paul, throughout. If you see a big orange thing in the sky that's not the
greatest
sun.
sports cities of all time, Cincinnati is absolutely somewhere on that list.
I mean, it's weird. Like there's something bad's about to happen because this shouldn't be happening. We need to have one horrifically bad sports team, and right now it's not happening, and that means something's off. Global warming. Can we blame this on global warming? I don't know if we can.
Could be. Maybe the smoke is from the fires is helping. I don't know.
Maybe we're all huffing something.